Today, let's discuss the relationship between nails' appearance and nutrition.
You know, it's pretty wild to think that your body has its own built-in diagnostic dashboard, one that gives you these direct little clues about everything that's happening on the inside. And it turns out, this tool that we so often overlook, well, it's literally right at your fingertips.
Think about it. We look at our nails every single day, but we almost never stop to actually read them. So what secrets are hiding there in plain sight? What are your nails trying to tell you about what's going on inside your body?
I love this analogy. It's kind of like this. A gardener can look at a plant's leaves and know right away if the soil is missing something. In the same way, we can learn to read our own nails to get a snapshot of our body's internal environment. It's a pretty powerful idea, right?
So, here's our game plan for becoming body detectives today. First, we're going to learn how to decode the timeline of these clues. Then, we'll dive into what colors and spots mean, followed by textures, lines, and ridges. After that, we'll check out some unusual shapes, and finally, we'll pull it all together.
All right, let's jump right in. Before we can even start to interpret what we're seeing on our nails, we have to understand the when. See, the location of any sign on your nail is basically a timestamp.
And here's the key to that timestamp. It takes about 6 months for a fingernail to grow all the way from the base, the cuticle, to the very tip. So if you see a mark right in the middle, that's pointing to something that happened about 3 months ago. A clue near the tip, you're looking at something from 6 months back. This is absolutely crucial for connecting the dots.
Okay, now that we've got our timeline down, let's start looking at some actual evidence. We're going to kick things off with the most obvious clues, changes in color and the appearance of little spots.
First up is one you have almost definitely seen before, that classic little white speck on your nail. It's super common, but it's not just some random damage. Nope, it's a very, very specific signal from your body.
So that white speck is the textbook sign of a zinc deficiency. And what often causes that? A diet that's a bit too high in carbs. Now, using our timeline, if you see that speck right in the middle of your nail, you can ask yourself, what was I eating 3 months ago? See how that works?
Pretty cool. This next clue looks a little more dramatic. If you ever see these really fine vertical red lines, what you're actually looking at are tiny broken capillaries right under the nail. They're like little distress signals. These little red lines often point directly to low vitamin C, which is absolutely essential for keeping your capillaries strong. And if you're seeing these, you might also notice some other related things, like maybe your gums bleed when you brush your teeth, or you're seeing more spider veins. It's all connected.
The overall color of your entire nail bed can be a big clue too. For instance, if the whole nail looks kind of pale or white, it could be a sign of a protein deficiency, or it could point to kidney or liver issues. A bluish tint? That suggests low oxygen, maybe from circulatory problems. And a yellowish color can be a sign of jaundice, which is linked to the liver or gallbladder.
All right, moving on from color, let's dig into our next set of clues. Now we're looking at what the nail actually feels like. We're talking about its texture and the different lines and ridges that can pop up on the surface.
These are probably the #1 texture change people notice. You know, those fine lines that run from the bottom of your nail to the tip? A lot of people just brush it off as a sign of aging, but really they can be a huge clue about several nutritional factors.
So these ridges can be caused by a few different things. They might signal that you're low on protein or eating too many carbs, but they're also strongly linked to low vitamin B12 and low iron, which, when you think about it, makes perfect sense since B12 and iron are mainly found in animal proteins.
Okay, pay attention here because it is super easy to get these next two mixed up, but the difference really matters. Fine horizontal lines that go across the nail can point to low vitamin B3, calcium, or zinc. But deeper, thicker, more distorted horizontal ridges, that's a classic sign of low biotin.
Here's another key distinction. If your nails are just generally brittle and they break easily, that could point to low iron. But if they're constantly chipping right at the edges, that's more of a sign of low vitamin B6 or magnesium. And what's the common link here? Well, both problems can be traced back to low stomach acid, which messes with your ability to absorb these vital minerals in the first place.
All right, we're on to our last category of clues. For this section, we're looking at really significant changes to the nail's entire structure, its overall shape and form. These can be pretty telling.
So if a nail actually curves upward, like a little spoon, that's a classic textbook sign of an iron deficiency.
A clubbed nail, one that looks kind of wide and boxy, can be a serious signal of low oxygen, maybe related to a heart, liver, or lung issue. And what if your nail is just soft, not strong and rigid? That's a big pointer to low calcium, and you probably need more vitamin D to help you absorb it too.
Our last clue is a little different. It's not about something that appears, but something that disappears. We're talking about the luna, that little white half-moon shape you see at the base of your nail. What in the world does it mean when it's gone?
Well, a missing or discolored luna can be associated with some pretty significant health conditions. We're talking things like liver cirrhosis, heart problems, or even diabetes. It's another one of those powerful little clues that might just prompt you to pay closer attention to your overall health. So, we've looked at all this evidence, the colors, the textures, the shapes. Let's take a step back and figure out what we're supposed to do with all this information. What does it all really mean?
Here is the bottom line. Your nails are a dashboard, not a doctor's final verdict. So many of these signs point back to your diet and whether you're absorbing nutrients properly. One root issue, like not getting enough protein, can set off a whole chain reaction of other signs. But most importantly, and I really want to stress this, these are just clues. They're a starting point to spark your awareness, not to self-diagnose.
What we've done here is give you a totally new lens to look at your own health through. It's a way to listen to the subtle signals your body is sending you every single day. So the real question is, now that you know how to read the clues, what are you going to investigate next?